So, one of the key intercultural experiences I had in Indonesia was through personal exploration of a place called Shaggy Dog by Millie, which had live instrumental music. And this gig was called the Gentleman's Crying Club. And through a short interview with one of the band members, I found out it was supposed to be an intimate gig with only instrumental music so that people could connect emotionally through that music. So, some were laying down behind the mosh pit, some were crying, some were just dancing. And that made me realize how important live music is in Yogyakarta. And that was consistent across the rest of my personal explorations in the next 2 weeks. And another key intercultural experience was my field visit at Langaran Tourism Village, and I saw the way that each community interacted and relied on each other, such as how the chocolate community would use the milk powder from the goat community to create products. And that really showed a collectivist and low power distance relationship within those local communities in Yogyakarta, which contrasts to Australia's high power distance forms of business and company. And you can see those values in the Cultural Intelligence Centre's report. So, our team chose the sustainability challenge of energy security because we felt at the time it was most relevant to two of our group members' background in engineering. All of us had also done prior research on energy security before coming on gig, and we thought it was unique to what the other teams were choosing, which was urban development, because that had the most content in the first week. And so some of our teamwork processes included discussion around what the challenge could possibly be based off, based on our own personal experiences in Yogyakarta, such as finding a lot of torches in the hotel rooms, hearing about regular blackouts at night markets. And so we wrote ideas down and expanded them on paper, each taking turns to challenge them or to break the frame as described in Framing Creative Problems. I contributed some interdisciplinary knowledge and ideas from my law discipline, and I had conducted extra research on Indonesia's electricity law 2009 and the de facto vertical monopoly imposed by the state owned company PLN, which is an electrical company. And this helped my team identify a major societal level stakeholder. So, one of the key insights I gained in week one was from Dwi Pertiwi's local insight session 2, Challenges of Sustainability in Indonesia. And she stated that when the government gave villages and farms electricity, they were so eager to use new tools that younger people were losing the ability to farm. And she said that if you do not prepare the community for that infrastructure, they will be destroyed and their tradition will be destroyed. But what she mentioned that I hadn't thought of was the parental trauma that some of the elderly people in rural communities carry. So the need to give their kids a better life, which leads to a loss of traditional skills, which leads to pushing them to urbanized areas, a loss of traditional professions. And that don't go outside mindset, a protective mindset that a lot of parents have, can distance young people from nature. And so that made me realize, and I thought it was important because while electrification and modernization threaten tradition, certainly, not everyone actually wishes to uphold or carry on that tradition. Although I went in with the assumption that everyone would want to uphold tradition, and so it made me realize that I had come in with a generalized perspective, and I thought that was really important. A second insight from the first week was through Dr. Rajanta's local insight session 3 on rural development. And he stated something very important, which was that development includes endogenous change as well as planned intervention. So, this was important to me because it reminded me that local stakeholders, such as farmers and villagers, are more than just the people or the party being affected, but also those that can affect the change being imposed on them. So, for example, Village Law Number 6, 2014 repositions those villages as governance units with authority and rights, which is something he mentioned in his lecture. And that without this empowerment, the villagers may not even consider participating in tourism activities. That, yes, increase economic income, but they might not need that if they are already self sustaining. So it helped my group and I move out of this really Western mindset that the local stakeholders were victims of what the government was imposing on them and really helped us understand that these villages actually through the laws are empowered bodies and empowered stakeholders that have authority and rights.